Welcome back, Taffers. I'm Chubobo1. After recently finishing a walkthrough for Thief 2 The Metal Age, I thought that it would be fitting to present a spoiler-filled review of the game. Garrett may have saved the world in Thief the Dark Project, also known as Thief Gold, but in the Metal Age, he's back to doing what he does best: burglary, blackmail, and generally being the city's most sarcastic pest.
Hey, the city looks almost bearable from up here.
Early jobs include springing his buddy Basso's girlfriend from a less-than-romantic prison date,
Basso!
looting a port warehouse the size of Rhode Island, and framing a cop for fun and profit. You know, everyday chores for a master thief.
Time to go.
Things take a darker turn when the Keepers, those cryptic busybodies who love prophecy almost as much as they love being vague,
Nice poem.
Not poetry, prophecy.
rope Garrett into eavesdropping on Sheriff Truart and a new religious figure, Karis. Karis heads up the Mechanists, a steampunk-flavored splinter group of the Hammerites who's traded hammers for gears and apparently thought, what if Roombas were sinister, was a great theological leap forward. During the meeting, 2 homeless test subjects promptly die in the background, confirming Karis has all the warmth of a malfunctioning toaster. The sheriff, it turns out, is feeding Karis more, quote, volunteers and getting blackmailed for his trouble.
And I can supply them. Vagabonds, street scum, prostitutes, those who will not be missed by anyone of consequence.
Garrett swipes an incriminating recording from the world's biggest bank, because if you're going to rob a bank, go big or go home. Only to find the sheriff already murdered.
Sound the alarm! Seal off the area! Sheriff Truart has been killed!
Clues point to a lieutenant, who in turn leads Garrett back to the mystical chaos of the Maw, and into the waiting arms of Victoria, the wood nymph who relieved Garrett of one eyeball in the previous game.
Garrett.
Awkward reunion?
Victoria.
Absolutely.
You understand nothing of suffering and duty, pathetic man fool.
But Victoria's got dirt on Karis too, so an uneasy alliance is forged.
Now your answer.
I agree that...
Good. The Earth keeps your promise for you.
From there, it's a whirlwind of spy work, submarines, pagan intrigue, and a side quest for ancient masks that feels like Garrett accidentally wandered into the 1993 game Myst with the blackjack in hand. But eventually, the gears click into place. Karis's grand plan is to turn homeless victims into, quote, servants, outfit them with creepy masks, and gift wrap them for the city's nobility. When the masks activate, they'll belch out rust gas that eats every living thing in range. The nobles' gardens act like a catalyst, ensuring the entire city turns into a post-apocalyptic Home Depot showroom, while Karis sits pretty safe inside his airtight cathedral with his machines. Naturally, Garrett and Victoria aren't thrilled about this extreme lawn care plan. They plan to recall all the servants back to Karis's cathedral, trapping him with his own doomsday gas. There's only one problem: not enough greenery inside to fuel the chain reaction. Victoria, in a classic tragic hero move, sacrifices herself to keep the plan rolling, leaving Garrett to deliver the final blow.
Karis.
With Karis undone, his machines helpless, and the city safe once again, Garrett returns to what he knows best, lurking in the shadows, begrudgingly heroic, and still the last person you want to see sneaking through your window at night. So what do I like about this sequel? A lot, really. First, compared to the first game, it has a noticeable graphics upgrade. I discussed this in episode 0 of my walkthrough. Thief the Dark Project and its re-release Thief Gold were both restricted to 8-bit color, which means the developers only had 256 colors to choose from per level. Thief 2 had caught up with the other games of the time period, which is around the year 2000, and was running in 16-bit color, which means they had 65,000 colors to choose from per level instead of 256. So basically the color palette was not a limitation anymore. And what would a sequel be without new weapons and tools? Flash mines,
Buy Karis a weed.
frog beast eggs, vine arrows, potions of invisibility and slow fall. Oh, and let's not forget flares for lighting the place up and a scouting orb. Basically a remote camera, though I rarely use either. And we get to use these new toys, sort of, on some new enemies. Coal and steam-powered mechanist beasts wearing Karis's face, both large and small. Security cameras with Karis's face. And weird partial human servants of Karis, also with his face. There's a police force now, called the City Watch. And the hammers have mostly been replaced by the mechanists. And a few of the regular guards wear helmets that cover their heads and necks, which means blackjacking is off the table. The levels in this game are enormous, which is great. The bank in the City Bank and Trust is ridiculously massive, probably covering several city blocks. Warehouses are big, mansions are huge. Even the sheriff's mansion has 3 floors and more rooms than a hotel, and that's on a sheriff's salary. And don't get me started on the cathedral in the final level. Several city blocks big, a sub-basement, a basement, towers galore. I think this was a direct response to the first game's final mission, feeling like a speed run. So the developer said, here's a monster of a level that you aren't finishing in 15 minutes. Personally, I like variety in my missions. Thief 2 delivers. Sneaking into the police station, robbing a bank, exploring a half-submerged cave base, and a submarine. The warehouses at Dayport, the newly imagined mall, and of course the famous rooftop trek in the level Life of the Party. The mapping system also got an upgrade, giving the player a better sense of location. Though it's not perfect, there are still plenty of spots the map can't quite figure out where you are. And there's callbacks to the first game, like names in books and conversations, like Bafford, familiar locations like parts of the Lost City, the Basso cameo,
Lock on the side door for you, Garrett. It's the only good way in.
and of course Victoria.
Pathetic man fool.
And if you weren't a fan of zombies in the first game, you'll be happy to hear that they are nearly gone here. Just a few dancing zombies outside playable areas, a couple that can be summoned, some graveyard shenanigans, and a couple of haunts. It's mostly undead free. I can't overlook the tone-setting, sepia-colored mission descriptions. The artwork and screenshots with the voiceover all do a great job of setting the mood. Unfortunately, they go away in the franchise after this game. And then there's the world building. If you pay attention to the conversations, texts, and events, it's kind of mind-blowing. Garrett's actions in the first game crippled the Hammerites and pagans, paving the way for the mechanists to rise. A formal city watch now exists because, in my headcanon, of the trickster killing his way through part of the city in Game 1. Victoria has switched sides, maybe even flirted with love.
It wasn't necessary.
There is tension between religion, technology, magic, and social class. Even neighborly arguments can erupt into deadly fights. It's a dangerous world, but fascinating to explore. However, being one of my favorite games doesn't make it perfect. The story had solid bones, but is convoluted. Like, why did I need to steal the masks near the end? Clues toward Karis's plans are tucked in tiny scrolls and books, but the big reveal doesn't hit until the final mission. The plan in the first game was simple. Stop the trickster before he throws the world into darkness. Karis's scheme, by comparison, requires a PhD in city politics and evil master plans 101 to fully grasp. And even then, the end game only becomes clear at the last moment.
With the gardens, the plants there could sustain a reaction large enough to destroy everything.
The extra weapons are mostly optional. Frog beast eggs? Forget them on expert. Killing is mostly off limits. Flash mines, like any mine, require precise placement, while AIs often take the scenic route. And the flares in the scouting orb, I used probably once. But these are minor complaints. Now, the big ones. The voice acting. 20 plus years ago, Stephen Russell's Garrett was perfection.
We can't afford any delays later when the masks arrive. Karras is holed up inside the Mechanist Cathedral, and it looks like whatever he's up to, we're running out of time.
But Karras? I'm not so sure. Stephen does his voice too.
Garrett, are you not? So, once again, we are met.
But someone decided the villain should be a meek, droopy dog sounding character instead of the menacing threat.
Hello, all you happy people. You know what? I'm the hero.
A few evil voice moments exist,
Yes.
but he's mostly timid.
Very well, Twig.
And on expert level, you're forced into ghost mode for a couple of levels.
Just
The police station and Gervasius's mansion/art gallery, leaving no trace of your presence, which can be extremely difficult and frustrating, especially as I get older. And this leads to the biggest complaint. Why do we have to go through Gervasius Mansion twice? Why is Garrett scouting the place out first, before going in? Replaying large portions of the Lost City in the mission prior was already deja vu, and now Casing the Joint and Masks are literally the same maps, requiring ghosting the first time through and looting only tiny coins. It's very frustrating. Still, despite these issues, Thief 2 showcases massive, memorable locations and encounters, not just with enemies, but with the world itself. It's a game where part of winning is crafting your own tools, a la Minecraft. While the story isn't as dark as the first,
the Mechanists invited the Bumblesins! The Bumblesins!
and the big reveal is underwhelming, you spend more time as Batman/Robin Hood, hiding in the shadows, shooting arrows, and being an unwilling hero.
Victoria!
And let's not forget those crazy trees. In the year 2000, they were terrifying. If you can, play Thief 3 Deadly Shadows. It's very different from the first two, but it's worth it to see the story continue, and Garrett's conflict with the Keepers comes to a head.
You Keepers can plant a few shrubs about town, and I'll take care of me. I'll find my own way home.
Plus, it contains hands down the scariest mission in the franchise.
It ceases.
Thief 4 from 2014? Don't bother. Save your time and money. Thanks for joining me, and may your pockets be full, your conscience light, and your enemies thoroughly confused.
Nothing. Who'd be stupid enough to break in here?
I'll see you when I see you, and go have some fun.